Okay. All right. Just want to introduce myself. Most of you know me. My name's Todd Kimmel, and I'm the principal here. We have some staff joining us today, so I just wanted to introduce them as well. We have Ms. Ramsey on the call. We have Ms. Mort on the call. We have Ms. Collins and Ms. Collins on the call. All right. This will mostly be a presentation, so please forgive that portion of the non-interactive, but at the end, if you think of a question throughout the presentation, just please type it in the chat box. Does anybody need a how-to type in the chat box? If you hover over the bottom of your screen, you see a chat box, and just type your question in there. And then at the end, there'll be a Q&A portion. Okay, thank you to those that have sent questions previously. We tried to incorporate the answers to those questions into the presentation. So thank you for that. So I just want to reiterate, we appreciate all of your support during the past year as we've navigated learning in the digital environment. It's definitely been helpful. So over the next 45 minutes, we'll provide you with some information regarding the school opening, operations, health and safety measures as we prepare for our pre-kindergarten through second grade students to report for in-person learning on March 1st. That date, as you know, is fluid. The mediator is still working with the school district and PFT to come to a resolution. But as of right now, the latest information we have is that students will be returning on March 1st. We'll share some key ideas so that we can all develop a common understanding as we move forward with health and safety as our top priority. Here's our agenda for today. We'll include some school operations and health and safety measures and protocols. We'll take a look at the school opening plan and what it will look like coming to school, being inside the building, and then dismissal procedures. And again, as I mentioned earlier, if you have any questions throughout the presentation, please type them in the chat box, and then I will do my best, we'll do our best to answer the questions at the end. If we don't know the answer, we'll definitely seek it out, and we can send out an email of follow-up. All right, let's begin. So here's what you can expect from us at Hackett. Everyone's required to complete a pre-screener in order to gain access to the building. At this time, all non-essential visitors are not allowed without an approved appointment. The custodial team has increased their cleaning protocols. So throughout the day, cleaning will occur on high-touch areas throughout the day. I know teachers will be working and wiping down. On Wednesdays, we will have deep cleaning occur throughout the building. That also includes a mister that will be sprayed throughout each room. Here's what we're asking of our families and our staff. We're asking that for you to screen your child each morning and take their temperature. If they're, please keep them home if they are sick. That is a fever, or if they have a cough or a cold, please keep them home. We're also asking our staff to do the same. If they have a fever or are feeling ill, we're asking them to stay home as well and use sick days. We're asking that when you're in the schoolyard, please follow the 6 feet rule. Make sure that you have your mask on, washing your hands, covering your cough. Let's support each other through these difficult times. I know we can do that and continue to be patient with each other and be flexible, just so that we can get through these difficult times. So in July, the school district was required to submit a plan to the Pennsylvania Department of Ed. The plan was written in collaboration with the union, chiefs, assistant superintendents, principals, teachers, central office staff, parents, and other stakeholder groups. Areas to highlight from the plan is in the facilities. Facilities, The operations team developed an addendum to the 2017 cleaning guidelines, which are posted on the facilities website. There's 5 types of cleaning protocols that were directly added because of COVID. I know here at Hackett, our custodial team has been working very hard to prepare the building. They're working very hard and cleaning day to day to ensure safety for everyone. Central office contracted with multiple vendors to assess the ventilation of our buildings. The reports are posted online, as well as there's a frequently FAQ, frequently asked questions. And the reports were recently updated and uploaded and switched out on the website. I'm going to review our report shortly, but as I said, we'll make sure it's posted on our Hackett website as well as the Phila SD website. For personal protective equipment, PPE, every school has received the recommended PPE for students, staff, and classrooms. That's inclusive of building safety signage. Miss Vicky and Miss Diana have helped unpack all the PPE. There was tons of boxes here. Every classroom now has tons of wipes, hand sanitizer. We have extra masks for students in case they forget to bring one. Staff are provided with masks. For our special ed population, we have other PPE as well, face shields, gowns, gloves, everything needed to make sure that we're being safe. For social, here's the mandated social distancing protocols. So here's a few of them. Employees must maintain at least 6 feet of social distancing at all times. We are going to try this with our students, especially we will enforce it in lines and in the classrooms. I'll talk about recess later. Everyone is required to wear a mask as outlined in the PPE protocol. Signs are posted indicating the general guidelines of maintaining 6 feet of social distance. There's signs on every door, by every doorway, which indicate the maximum occupancy of how many people can be in each room. And that's based on the maximum occupancy based on square footage and or the ventilation. We take whatever the smaller number is of the two on the report. This is a screenshot of our ventilation report, but if you access this online, these blue parts are hyperlinked, and you can see part 2 and part 3 are the ventilation. The team that was contracted to come out was the Divine Brothers, and they had to come out multiple times because there may have been a univent in a classroom that was offline or needed repairs. And once those were repaired, they then came out again to rerun the test to see what the ventilation was. So if you look at the report on the left-hand side, you see the classroom number, and then this is the type of classroom it is. This is the actual outside air. This is how much air is being pulled in from the univent from outside. So any classroom that has all the classrooms on the first floor, on the second floor, and on the third floor, they all have univents which pull in outside air. The classrooms on the rotunda, they're pulling air out from the ceiling. There's a huge source of air that's pulled in, and those classrooms are connected. And the 4 rooms that are on the rotunda all have windows as well. But if you look here, this is the classroom square footage. So they take the number of air that's being pulled from outside, and they get this number of how many students can be in there. Then they take the square footage and they calculate how many persons can be in an actual room with the occupancy. And then this is the max occupancy. So if you can see here for the library, which we will not be using at this time, if you go on the outside air alone, they're saying 33 students can, or persons can be in the room. And then with the square footage, you see the numbers higher, 43. We're going to always go with the lower number and err on this side of safety. Here are the classrooms some of the classrooms that are going to be utilized. For example, 203 is going to be a kindergarten classroom. You can see with the outside air ventilation, it's 22. However, with the square footage, that puts it at 17. I do want to point out for the cafeteria here, you'll see it says 0. That is because this field here is blank because it's not a classroom. It doesn't have classroom square footage. This is the square footage, and this is how much this is the outside air that's being pulled in, and then this is the occupancy rate for the cafeteria. It's very high. It's 95. However, we won't have more than 25 people in the cafe at one time. And you can see the gym is at 64. You can see how much square footage there is. There could fit 108, but with the air that it's pulling from outside, that's 64. If you have any questions about that, please put them in the chat and I can expand on them at the end. In addition to student testing, staff and all employees will be required to be tested weekly. We'll have an outside contractor coming each week to test all employees. Ms. Ramsey will speak more about student testing.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Student testing, as Mr. Kimmel said, will be the complex needs children will be tested weekly. The other little folks will be tested within the first few weeks. And it's not the one that everybody heard about in the very beginning where we had to go all the way up really high. This one will just be the very tip of the swab, literally just the cotton part. It'll be inserted right into the entry right here at the nostril. It'll be swirled 5 times. I'll take it out, insert it on the other side. It'll be again swirled 5 times. I then will put it into a test kit and test it. And we have a QR code where we can now, keep track of it. If anybody does come up, positive, that will be reported to the Department of Health. But like I said, my main concern was I just wanted everybody to know that it's not that test that they did in the very beginning where it went up really high. It's just going to be the little bit of the cotton tip. We also have, we got new thermometers. So you probably have seen these if you've gone anywhere. I like this one a lot. I didn't have to calibrate it or anything. It came all ready to use. So this is what everybody's using, and it's just going to be right there, and it's going to be no contact, and automatically it'll show right there. If your child is symptomatic, please keep them home and contact your doctor. It's just, it might not necessarily be COVID. They might have the flu or, a cold, but we just want them to be safe as well. Not everything is going to be COVID. That's the other thing is this is flu season as well. And it's cold season. And, we've had a lot of water recently with the snow and the rain. So their allergies might be going. So, you don't want anybody, to think that not everybody's going to become positive for COVID. It's just basically what I want to say. So, and if you have any questions, you can email me or dojo me, call me. I'll answer anything. If I can't answer you, I'll contact the Department of Health, which is where we get all of our guidelines from, and I will get the answer for you.
Hello? I did want to share too about.
Yeah, hi, Stephanie.
Oh, if you have a question,
Hi.
If you could just.
Nice to speak with you.
Hello, how are you? If you have a question, we're gonna, if you could put it in the chat and we're gonna answer them at the end. Thank you. But as far as if a student does test positive, there's protocols that we have to follow, and they will give us the guidance whether it will be, whether the classroom, the cohort will be quarantined, or we will communicate that with families as we will be in direct contact with you once we receive guidance from them on what to do next as far as a positive test in the school. All right, so the next up, we work with the Office of Student Rights and Responsibilities and develop some student processes and protocols for students who refuse to wear a mask and for students who report to school on the incorrect day. There's some strategies that we reviewed with staff that we can recommend to help children wear a mask. So the protocols were recommendations. We're going to do whatever it takes to work with our children and families to make sure that students are wearing masks and coming on the right days. So it was also suggested as a best practice that teachers ask their students to wear masks during virtual learning prior to March 1st. So you may have seen that already, so that they can practice and work on their endurance. We also ask that you do that at home as well. And ensure that your child comes to school with a mask. As I mentioned earlier, if they do not, we do have disposable masks to provide. I'm going to post this, in addition to posting this presentation on the website, I'm going to post the presentation, and then there's links here that you can also click for the guidance. And the gist of it is, as I said, we're going to work with families and students to encourage them to do the right thing. But if the off chance that it's students are refusing, or parents are bringing students on the wrong day, it's kind of like a 3-strike. So the first time, we'll reach out to the families. If students are refusing to wear masks, we'll isolate them. We'll make sure they're socially distant from the other students. Same thing on the second occurrence, we'll reach out again and try to implement some strategies. But after the third time for both, if the child's still refusing to wear a mask, or if the child's coming on the incorrect day, after the third occurrence, they will go back to all digital learning for the remainder of the year. All right, so in the fall, the district sent out a survey to families to indicate that if they were interested in their child returning for in-person learning. Initially, out of the 237 eligible students from pre-K through second grade, 126 were interested in hybrid, and 111 requested to remain virtual. I know a lot has changed since the fall. So we had teachers reach out to all of the families that indicated they were interested in hybrid, and we asked if they were still planning on sending their child in for hybrid learning. This slide shows the number of students that indicated they would return. This number may drop further if families do not complete the COVID testing consent form. So as you can see here, on Monday and Tuesday, there will be 38 students in the building. Everyone will remain digital for Wednesdays. And then on Thursday and Friday, we will have 34 students in the building. These low numbers will ensure that we are able to bring students back safely as we continue to implement the safety protocols. So here are some examples about some procedures that we've been working on. We're going to talk about going to school, arriving at school, being inside the school, and then leaving the school. So we're responsible for children from the time they leave their home at the beginning of the day, and once they return home at the end of the day. So we need to collectively remind children of safety from home and school and going home again. So arriving to school, we're going to talk about lining up in the schoolyard, inclement weather procedures, being inside. I'm going to show you what classrooms, how they're set up, and then the dismissal procedure. So arriving to school, we're going to have classes meet in their designated spot in the schoolyard so that they can be socially distanced. At 8:30, teachers will come out at 8:30. At 8:30, second grade will line up outside the blue doors in front of the basketball nets. We're going to have first grade line up near the turf. And then kindergarten is going to line up over by the basketball nets in the schoolyard. And then you can see here that we're doing a 5-minute delay between each. We're having second grade go in first because they're familiar with the building, and second grade has the least amount of students. And then first grade will go next, and then followed by kindergarten. So they're also going to use separate doors. Second grade is going to go in the double staircase doors right where they lined up. First grade will go in the doors near the music room. And then kindergarten will come from the basketball nets into the same doors that second grade came in. We do have some students riding the bus. They will enter the building through the front doors, and staff will be there to meet and greet them. Breakfast will be delivered to the classroom, and then students will eat staggered and socially distanced. So depending on the amount of students, we'll have 1 or 2 eat at a time, take their mask off, eat, and then put their mask back on. For inclement weather, if it's raining, and hopefully snow will be over with, but if it's extremely cold, we're going to open the doors. We're going to ask that you come as close to 8:30 as possible. I know families have come earlier in the past. We're going to open doors promptly at 8:25. Students will enter their designated door, and they're going to go right up to their classrooms. We'll have staff monitoring the passageways up to the rooms, and their teachers will be there to greet them. And we'll make sure that they remain socially distanced, walking up. Here's an example of the classroom design and safety measures. We made sure that all desks were 6 feet apart. There's visual aids on the floor. This is the same in the cafeteria. There will be, each table will have 2 spots indicated where students can sit. There will be, I didn't bring it in here, but there's little circles that indicate where students should stand. They're going to be spaced 6 feet apart. Those are placed in the cafeteria, and they'll also be placed at the bathrooms. We've removed all plush materials from the classrooms. That includes stuffed animals, fluffy chairs, carpets. Everything's been rolled up. Carpet's been rolled up. Extra furniture has been put into empty classrooms. We're also asking that within the classrooms, we refrain from having students share materials and supplies. So we're encouraging parents to label all the school supplies that you bring. We've purchased some Ziploc bags for students. We're going to have them put their Chromebooks in so that they can remain waterproof. We're going to clean and disinfect items on a daily basis. We ask families to do the same. We're going to limit the amount of like art supplies, phys ed supplies. We're going to limit that for now to avoid sharing materials. Here's an example of what a classroom looks like. As you can see here, this is all the rooms have these occupancy numbers on them. And then this is actually a picture of room 218. You can see that the desks are spaced 6 feet apart. And then if you see over here, this is where the document camera will be. The teacher can move this, and the document camera is movable so that the teacher is not sitting down teaching there. He or she can move around, focus on the students digitally while also the students in the class. Here is a picture of a small group instruction table. So every classroom will have a small group instruction station. And you can see we have the dividers here because each room has about 4 to 5 of these, because small group, they're not able to be socially distant. So we'll have the masks on as well as these dividers. So received a lot of questions about what will in-person learning look like. So the hybrid students will work on independent tasks during asynchronous times. So that could be iReady. We're going to try to limit screen time, but there will be times where they may need to log on to their Chromebook. That's why we're asking you to bring it. A lot of teachers are using the SLSO, which is if a student is in the classroom, they're going to be looking at the teacher and interacting with the teacher and the smartboard. However, they may need to log on to their Chromebook to do some type of work with their peers that are online. They will not be logging on to the Google Meets. Only one person can be logged on to the Google Meet, otherwise there'll be feedback. So we're just asking that you make sure that students are bringing their Chromebooks to and from school every day. All right, lunch and recess. Also received a lot of questions about lunch and recess. So a few years back, we purchased the round tables for family style eating. So at this time, to keep them socially distant, we can only have 2 at a table. Students will come down, they'll go through the line, they'll have at least 20 minutes to eat. So once students are finished, for example, first grade is going to eat first at 11 o'clock. They'll come down, they'll go through the line. After 20 minutes, as students start to finish, they will be escorted 3 at a time to the bathrooms on the first floor, where they'll use the bathroom, wash their hands, and they will go out the bathroom doors to the recess yard where more staff will meet them outside. At 11:45, first grade teachers will pick students up in the yard. And then at 12 o'clock, kindergarten will come down. There will be at least 15 minutes in between to sanitize all tables. Students that may need longer than 20 minutes can have that to finish eating. It will just take away from their recess time. We're trying to have at least 20 minutes in, 5 minutes to use the bathroom, and 20 minutes outside. When students return to the classroom, they will wash their hands using hand sanitizer, as they will be touching doors and rails as they go up. Also, with recess, the only time students will have their masks off is when they're eating. They'll be safely distanced with only 2 at a table. When they're finished eating, they'll put their mask back on, and they can use, when they go out for recess, they will be allowed to play with each other, run around. They're going to be near each other, but they'll be outdoors and they'll have their masks on. So, and they'll be allowed to use their playground equipment. We will not be sending out any balls though at this time. And again, we'll ensure they have their masks on so that when they get back up to the room, they can wash their hands and remain safe. As far as restrooms go, teachers, we're going to have a schedule for restrooms. Teachers will escort their classes to the restroom and they will enforce the social distancing guidelines. Because there's stalls, at least 3 stalls in each bathroom, those stalls act as partitions. We're going to have no more than 3 students go in at a time, and then each classroom has their designated time 3 times a day. For example, 214 is first grade. They will go at 9:40. They'll also go at lunch, and then they'll also go in the afternoon at 1:30. These classes are located on the rotunda, and that's our upper second floor, and this is our second floor. These are our classrooms there. And just something to note, second grade has only 10 students returning, so that's 211 right here. All right, so for our specialists at this time, Mrs. Parker is remaining virtual. So all music classes will remain virtual. Students will stay in their classrooms for music class, and there will be an adult in the room with them as they log on. Tech and art will travel, so Miss Barca and Mr. Kraus will travel to the classroom to teach in-person technology and in-person art while also teaching students at home. And then gym will be held either outside or in the gymnasium. And at this time, we will have asynchronous activities for students for gym that are at home. For dismissal leaving the school, it's the same pretty much as entering the building. We're going to do it on a staggered release. So second grade will leave first at 2:55, and they will wait at the same area that they lined up. They will wait for their parents to pick them up. Or if they have siblings, they'll wait there until their younger siblings come out. First grade will come out at 3 o'clock, and then kindergarten will be released at 3:05. We'll also be sending home forms to indicate who will be picking up your child, and the teachers will verify that. All right, so this is the last slide. So as we prepare for a safe and slow school opening, I want to thank you all again for your willingness and your support throughout this entire time. Please continue to keep communication lines open. If you have a question, please feel free to email myself or Miss Lux. She can get it to me, or you can reach out to us on Class Dojo. But there's 5 days to go as of right now, unless something changes. For more information, you can go to the school district website. There's a plethora of information there. But we're here to work with you. So I'm going to look in the chat and see what questions remain. And if you want to come off mute and expand on your question, please feel free. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. For those that joined late, I am recording the session so that we can put it up at a later time. If you don't want to be on the video, please keep your camera off, and you should not appear on the video. Okay. All right, first question I have here. All right, Ms. Tepper, I covered that. Do you want me to expand? Okay, good. All right. Christina asks, just to clarify, is it still unknown what will happen if a student or teacher tests positive? When will those children who were in the classroom but did not test positive be in that? It's not unknown. If someone tests positive, the protocol we're being asked is to reach out to the Department of Health, and then they will let us know whether or not the whole class needs to quarantine or if anyone needs to quarantine. If you, Ms. Ramsey, you can speak more about this, but if I know for staff that if they were exposed to someone and they take the rapid test and they test negative, they can come back after 2 days. But we will provide guidance. Ms. Ramsey, you want to expand on that?
Yeah, it's if someone comes in, when will these students that did not test positive? It's the exposure date is still 14 days.
Okay.
But if it's 3 within 14 days or exposed at school, say they would have to still be out for 14 days.
Okay. So we'll
I can get the exact information from the Department of Health and share.
okay. That would be helpful. So there may be times when we switch back to virtual. It could be a classroom that goes back to virtual for a certain amount of time, or it could be a cohort, or it could be the whole school. It all depends, but we will be in direct communication with everyone, and keep you informed as we go along. Pre-K is the same. They have higher numbers coming back. I know Ms. Mel Taylor, can you expand on that? It says, what about pre-K though, in reference to?
Sorry, it was when you were talking about entering the building, you didn't mention pre-K.
Yes, okay, thank you. They will enter the doors that they normally enter, which is over by the playground.
Okay, yeah, we've never been there, so
Okay.
that's fine. We'll talk to the teacher about it.
They should be, have they reached out?
Sorry, we're in virtual school, so okay. Yes, he has talked a little bit about it, but I guess I missed that, but I can
Okay.
talk to him again.
Okay, and I apologize for leaving it out on this, but it is run through Head Start. They're definitely part of Hackett, but a lot of their information is through a different system. So we get information out to the teachers, and they've been.
Yeah, understood. Thank you.
Okay. Yep, sure. Is there a list of supplies we should bring, or is a supply list from the beginning of the year? I would not send all those supplies in from the beginning of the year. Let's just keep it simple for right now. Send the Chromebook. The teacher should give you more guidance, but just send the Chromebook for right now. I would think a notebook, some pencils, maybe like in a box, and just label it with your child's name on it, just so that there's no sharing. The next question says, will the children need to bring their computers? Yes. Okay, that's a good question. We never opted for the Chromebook. We use a Mac. Is that okay? What we were thinking around for this, a lot of families did not pick up the Chromebook, so we have them here in the school. We were thinking that you can leave your Mac at home, and for those students, we can have the Chromebook here, so that they're not carrying back and forth. That's the solution we've come up with so far, and we'll get that set up. All right. What will happen if a student needs to go to the bathroom outside of those times? They will be permitted to go. They can call down to the office. We'll put a procedure in place. We do have some flexibility with staff to to help out. But we're gonna, in the beginning that will happen, but as we get them in a routine, the students can always go to the bathroom during an emergency, but we'll try to start to work back to a routine.
Will they so they'll need to be escorted every time they go if it's outside of those times?
It depends on what classroom is. Like, I know the ones on the rotunda are right near the bathroom, so I know teachers can just be near. We do have some other staff available that will be up there and around in that area to monitor. We do want them, I mean, we want to start out with being precautious as possible. So we want to start off making sure that adults are in the area so that they can make sure there's not more than 3 students in the bathroom.
Okay.
All right. Will teachers have anyone present in the classroom to assist and navigate teaching virtually? So we are working on it. We do have we have bus attendants that are assigned to buses that we can utilize, but not everyone's guaranteed to have an extra body in the classroom. So again, we just ask for everybody's patient. Teachers are, have the same anxieties about navigating the new technology. So it's going to be a learning curve, but just hang in there. We have office staff to help support, and we work together to make sure that everybody's has what they need. But unfortunately, no, we don't have extra people assigned to kindergarten, first grade, and second grade. Some rooms do and some don't. It depends on a lot of variables. Uniform expectations are, students are required by the district to wear uniforms. We are going to be a little flexible with this in the beginning because they keep pushing the date back. So if you don't have your uniform right away, that's okay. We also have tons of uniforms here for like a uniform trade. One of our parents helped organize that. So if you need uniforms, just reach out. Will kids be expected to remain 6 feet apart during outdoor recess? No, it's not feasible. I don't think it's, as long as they're wearing their mask and we're outdoors, we believe students need to get out, they need to run, they need to, to play, and keeping kids 6 feet apart is not going to be feasible at this time. Will kindergarten remain half days on non-in-person days, or will the new school day be from 8:45 to 3:05? So students that are, when you're virtual, the kindergarten schedule will remain the same for now. But when you're in person, it will be full day. So Wednesdays would end at their normal time. If your child comes Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, they would have the same kindergarten schedule. All right. I don't believe that my son's teacher will be doing in person. If I have any questions, do I still contact her? There's only 2 teachers that have an accommodation that will be teaching virtually. So that's Miss Parker, who's teaching music virtually, and Miss Brown Lux will be teaching virtually. So when students are in person, they will be with Miss Gosser in second grade. And if they're in Miss Lux's homeroom, they will be with her on the virtual days. And last question, you mentioned face shields earlier. Is that for the students? No, that is for the special ed staff that have students that may not be able to physically wear a mask. So they'll be given face shields and masks so that they can double their protection for students that may not be able to wear a mask. All right, one more. Will the teacher be helping the kids to make sure the asynchronous work is completed? Will the in-person children be sent home on Fridays with incomplete asynchronous work that is due that day? No. Asynchronous, we are asking, and I will share this with teachers again on Friday, when students are in the building and they're working on asynchronous activities, that's what they're going to work on in the school. They're not going to bring that home and have homework. We're trying to make this take extra off everyone's plate and not add additional work. So when they're in person, they're going to work on their asynchronous activities here. But when they're virtual, they'll be responsible for those asynchronous activities. I know we've done finish it Fridays in the past, and that question came up from teachers. When are we going to do now? Because our Wednesday is the new Friday. So we're just asking that, everyone's flexible. Not everything's graded. Do your best to get it done. If it's too much, do your best, and we're going to keep it moving. Any other questions or any clarification or concerns? Work ahead Wednesday. I like that. Yes. I love it. All right, so stay tuned. It was around this time last week that we learned they were pushing it back a week. All the communication I've seen on the news has been students are returning March 1st, students are returning March 1st. So please plan for that. Teachers will be here. If students are expected to be here, we'll be ready. Unless the mediator steps in and says something different. All right. I want to thank you all for your time. Appreciate your support. We couldn't do this work without you, so thank you so much. And have a wonderful day. It's good seeing you.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.